Hi everyone, Mia Monroe here from Art Ninja HQ in Lincoln. I'm here today for my usual update, how things have been going, a bit of chat. I'm going to talk you through about the classes I've been running, linocuts and felting, mosaics with found objects, which sounds a bit mysterious, but it's a lot of fun. And then I'm going to talk to you about the outside space that I'm developing and some exciting news, future projects. So we'll get to that later. So on to the first class, linocuts. Some of you might remember linocuts at school and how stressful it was. And it was hard and the tools were sharp and everybody was all a bit stressed. Well, it's not like that anymore. So the lino that I use in my classes is called soft lino. It's usually used for beginners. It's actually blue. This is a piece that I've already inked, so it looks black. The reason the back looks like this is because I sometimes paint on it, so the blue can be a little bit domineering and put you off if you're trying to figure out how your print's going to work out. So sometimes you can just put a quick wash of acrylic on, and then you can just pencil on top. So that's just a little cut. I don't know if you can see that very well against the black there, but I'll show you how it prints in a sec. So I start all my classes, by talking about the history of the craft, what to do with the tools, what materials are best, and then we just kind of get stuck in, and then as we go through the class, I'll add extra details as we go. So there was a lot of fun. Don't have that many people in my classes, probably maximum of 6. Everybody's well spaced out in the studio anyway. I think it's important to have space, and especially COVID safety wise, it's a good idea. But we have plenty of space, so let's use it right. I don't want everybody to feel like they're all squished in. So it's nice to spread out. I mean, that's one of the good things. So we spend quite a bit of time talking about design and how to create a print and what's going to happen with what you do. So after a little practice with the tools on a spare bit of lino, we'll look at design and get some ideas going and just kind of get started really. I have some inspiration sheets that people can use to kind of get started. So that's just a Lincoln print I did. So part of the things that we talk about is what you're going to print onto. So printing your lino cuts with most printing, the smoother the paper, as long as it's not shiny and coated, the smoother the print, basically. I mean, you can use that to your advantage. You can use textured paper to get a textured effect to your print. But, learning about that, the best way is to just do it. So I have loads of different papers, loads of different textures. Just try. That's what it's here for. It's an introduction, and it's just about getting stuck in, trying things, learning. One of the ideas with this print was to print it on a part of the map of Lincoln, section of Lincoln. Unfortunately, I didn't have that page. I don't know where it went. I probably used it for something else. But anyway, it's just an idea, right? It's an interesting idea. That's one of the first pulls I did. It's a bit scant, but never mind. So if the papers aren't to your liking, then you can also create your own background to print onto. That's just basic paint or colour, collage sometimes you can print onto. It all depends on your design, but it's all about breaking boundaries and trying new things. One of the things we print onto, if you want to, is fabric. This is just a piece of old curtain, I think, and it was just a pretty basic print, but printing onto any type of fabric is always fun. T-shirt, old bag, and then do with it as you will. So it's always good fun just to experiment. This is another piece which evolved throughout the class. I just gradually took more and more away as a demonstration. We also talk about reduction printing a little bit in the class. It depends on who's in the class, whether that's going to be info overload or not. But it's just good to know, isn't it? The possibilities of what you're doing. So if you suddenly feel like this is your thing and you love it, then you know there's room for growth, and you know you can take it as far as you like. This piece was taken off a drawing that I had already done, so I was showing how you can develop your own work into prints. It came out nice. I like the red. I do like a bit of red. This is just a sample print that I used to talk about chatter. Now, I don't mean chatter in the class, because we encourage that. That is always good. Creating connections is the way forward. But this is chatter. So these like little lines here, chatter. You've probably seen them on prints. They're really nice to leave in, depending on your print. But if you don't want them, then I've got a top tip for finding out whether they're there or not. So if you just get a piece of bog standard paper, anything you like, thin as possible, and take a crayon, and just take a rubbing of your linocut as you work, you will be able to see those elements that are going to print. And if you have chatter, then you'll be able to tell really quickly. Or just if some of your lines need thickening up, or you need to add a bit more detail, or it's just a really useful way, rather than doing a test print and then having to wash your lino, dry it, you know, do another inking and print again. It's just a super quick way, and you can quickly develop your design on your lino that way. So that was the lino cut class, which I run regularly. I love lino. My background is in printing from many years ago. When I first started my creative career, printing was a big part of that, and I love it. And then I run a wet felting class. This is one of my pieces from one of those classes. I don't have students' work. I've got a piece to show you later, but they take it home. So, but they do share on social media. So you will have seen this work if you're on my Facebook groups, Instagram or Twitter. And it's always good to see the development. People take their work home and then post pictures later when they've added some more detail, which is always nice. I love to see that. So the felting class, it's an introduction to. I like to cover a bit of everything, so it's a bit of a taster session, I guess you could call it. So I start with making a wet felted background, so that would be this, and then we needle felt detail onto it, and sometimes at the end I would add some embroidery. I just really like it. I like texture, I like dimension, I like lots of different materials in things. That's just like who I am as an artist. If I can add texture, I will. I love tactile things. That's just, you know, my thing. So this was just to show how you can incorporate different textures into your felted background and then needle felted on top. I added in some detail at the end. I added in some shading on my lighthouse and these like cliffs and things in the background. So that was a fun class. It's always a nice one. It's like always a frenzy of fluff, I like to call it. It's not one of my cheapest classes because of the cost of the wool is not cheap. It's, you know, but you know, again, I give a bit of history and we talk about the materials and the equipment that you're gonna use and how to use it, what else you can use, what else you can do with the craft. We look at other artists sometimes. That's always nice. And then I have my inspiration sheets to get people started, and we go from there. This is another more abstract piece that I have as a demo. So these bits here are needle felted on afterwards, so that gives a really nice raised texture. And then the embroidery detail you can see. Anyway, that's just, I don't know, what do you see in that? What do you see? I kind of think maybe it's a little bit under the sea and then like a skyline, but that's just what I see. Who knows? That's what abstract work's all about, isn't it? I just love those colours in that. I love the pinks and blues and purples together. And then I like to do a mosaic class. So mosaics are an old heritage craft. They're one of the oldest art forms, apart from graffiti, I guess. And I like to talk about the different possibilities with mosaic. So I use a variety of things, like I was talking in my initial intro about using found objects. Now, it sounds a little bit mysterious, but it's actually like quite straightforward, I suppose. So it's objects that you found. So you can mosaic anything pretty much. I mean, in this one, I've got things like screws, some keys. Obviously, there's a big spoon. I don't know where I got that from. I suspect it might have slipped in my bag at some point. There's bits of jewellery on here, not expensive jewellery. There's an Allen key. I mean, we come across those a lot these days. These little bits are from my hearing aid, which is my lifesaver. And there's some broken china, some buttons. There's like a drill bit, a USB, end of a USB, this little zip. I don't know if you can see that. It's kind of hanging on like this bit's, the pull bit's loose. There's a little bit of a badge that I found, a bit of pencil. I think that's a lid of a like hand cream or something. I don't use that as often as I should. It's all that hand washing. So that's the using found objects mosaic. This one's actually been grouted and polished. I quite like that little bottle top. A nice little, I think it was from some tonic. This piece was done by Donna. She says it's okay for me to show it. So I just love that this is all like candy colours. It's like a sweetie explosion. It's just been grouted, so it hasn't been polished off. She's going to come back and do that another day, and needs the edges painting and tidying up, whatever. But you know, she's included lots of fun bits of cabochons and broken glass and some beads, all sorts of different things in there. So that was really exciting. That was a great class. It's always possible to mosaic on anything pretty much. I've done pots and benches and chairs, anything really, anything you can think of. It's fabulous, and it makes something really robust. Another lovely class. The class is all available to book on the website, artninjahq.com. You will find all the details on there of how to book and when they are, which is always good. So what other news have I got? The outside space. So the outside space is a section to my right, which is kind of, the studio is like an L shape, and this is the rest of the square, if that makes sense. And it's a covered area and it's really sheltered. So I've got some furniture out there, some tables and some benches. We're going to be dressing up that area. You can bet your bottom dollar it'll be covered before you know it. So a lot of the projects that are on the project table are around that. It's pine cone bunting, and the community jigsaw is still ongoing, so that will end up out there. There's also a set of double doors which don't lead anywhere, which I'm going to board over, and that's going to be a big mosaic with the plastic bottle tops. So I've done the door covering in sections. I've got 3 big pieces, so I can screw them in so it looks tidy and nice. And then they just bring a piece in for everybody to do. So I don't know what's going to happen, but you know, that's the way. Somebody donated some bin bags full of bin lids, plastic lids. I think there's 4. They said there was another 6. So I've got to sort them out, and hopefully I don't have to wash them. If you're ever donating plastic lids, just give them a rinse. I'll just have to hose them down outside and let them dry off, I think. But and then they need sorting, and then we'll be getting stuck in on that in the studio, and that'll be finished before you know it and up, which is always great. I love the community art pieces that we have here. Ninja Knitters are working on a semi-secret kind of yarn bombing. We're going to be developing a big long piece to go on the fence outside the front of the school, possibly, or maybe on the side. But anyway, yeah, so that's exciting. So I am a knitter, and I used to crochet when I was young, and I was like 9. I used to crochet a lot. I was one of those weird kids who took it to school to do at break time. I say no more. But I've recently picked it up again, so I'm brushing up my crochet skills to make all these like flowers and leaves and fantasy birds and just things like that, random things that are going to go on this big frieze. So the Ninja Knitters is a group that meets on a Wednesday. We have sessions kind of 11 till 1, and in the evening kind of 6 to 8:30, depends how long we get chatting. There's tea, biscuits, you know, that kind of thing. People bring their own projects, and we don't just do knitting at Ninja Knitters. I called it Ninja Knitters because I like the alliteration with the Ninja Knitters. But obviously there's crochet and weaving. We've got a spinner. There's patchwork somebody's doing, sewing, just that kind of handicraft kind of thing. It's just getting together, crafting and chatting and creating connections and doing nice things to cheer people up. So, you know, the frieze will be a really lovely thing to see. We're on the road a little bit here out the front, so I imagine driving by it would look really nice, like on your way to work, or if you're having a bad day or something. Also got a project painting media boxes coming up at the end of the month. It's not around this location, it is in Gainsborough, which is a little bit further out, but super excited about that. I've got 10 boxes to do. I'll be posting video and photos at the end of the month when that happens. So fingers crossed the weather's okay, because that could ruin everything, but there's a contingency plan, so it'll be fine. It'll be fine. So that's exciting. And then Lincoln Wish Tree is ongoing and continuing to develop. So if you're not aware of that project, then you can look it up. Lincoln Wish Tree Group is on Facebook. So that's a project that's continually developing and growing. It's an outdoor fresh air project, and it's got wigwams and seating areas, a teddy bear trail, all sorts of creative things, obviously centered around the wish tree. There's another video about the wish tree, actually, if you wanted to know more about it. There's a video where I talk through what's going on there. But the exciting thing that's happening about that project, apart from the project itself, it's on West Common in Lincoln, if any of you want to go and have a look. It's behind the cricket pitch. You'll find it. Part of the fun is finding it right. Anyway, the exciting thing that's happening there is we are having a day of live carving, and a lady carver called Sarah is coming to do some chainsaw carving of some massive big fallen trees and stumps that we have. So we'll be able to have them in the area. So going to try and make a bit of a thing of it. It'll be probably early to mid August, I guess. We haven't fixed a date yet, which is why I can't tell you. But we're going to make a day of it. Hopefully restrictions allowing, we'll be able to have a big picnic and get together, and I'll take some creative things for people to do, and we're just gonna like have fun and enjoy. So yeah, so that's a big excitement. So I'll post a video about that near the time. But if you follow the Facebook pages, Lincoln Art Ninjas is one, Art Ninja HQ and Lincoln Wish Tree Group, you will see updates on when that's happening. The other thing I was just going to mention is, I don't know if you can see in the background, there's this grey circle, and you can see a little bit of Van Gogh's face. This is an ongoing project that is from my recent degree show, and I will be completing it eventually, so I'm just painting a section at a time. There is also another video called the Van Gogh project on my channel, so you can find out a bit more about that. I just thought you might be able to just see a little bit of his face and think, what's that in the background? Anyway, that's all from me. I think moving forward, yeah, we've got the exciting projects. In the studio, we've got lots of things going on. I'm starting a back to basics class, which will be every month. I think the first Saturday of the month, which will be back to basics. So looking at using materials, shading, drawing skills, all sorts of things like that, so that we can really get some good tuition going on, make you feel good about what you're creating. So I think that's about it from me for today. So don't forget to put any questions below, anything you'd like to see, or if you'd like some tuition videos, I'm looking to try and get some of those done. I'm not that tech savvy, you might have gathered, so I'm not sure how they'll go, but I'm okay with that. There's nothing much I can't do creatively. So if you put down anything you fancy seeing, if it's new to me, we'll learn together. If it's not, I'm happy to share my wealth of expertise and knowledge, and we'll have some fun, right? Anyway, see you on social media, hopefully. If not, have a look at the website and get in touch. Bye for now.